Hi, everyone who's coming in to join us for day 2 of the Student Research and Innovation Showcase. Let's give everybody a couple minutes to come on in, and then we will get right started. Today, the focus will be on student projects. So we do have 4 student projects that we're featuring today, as well as 1 student research. I think it'll be a very exciting show today. And we're also, of course, announcing the projects that have received funding under our May funding cycle. All right. I'm going to mute myself for now and let people trickle in. Hi, everyone. Once again, thank you to those of you who are already here. We're just waiting a couple minutes for people to show up, and then we'll get right started. In the meantime, as you were. Okay, we will wait 1 more minute, and then we will get started at 5 minutes past. We have, like I said, 4 projects that we're featuring today and 1 student research paper, so should be quite exciting. Okay, it's now 5 past, so I will get started. Hi to all of you who don't know who I am. My name is Maya. I am the Director of Student Innovation. So in that role, I'm also the Director of the Leadership and Innovation Lab. So in the lab, our main role is to help nurture and expand student-run projects. So we work with a lot of students who want to start their own student-run initiatives, projects, organizations, business ventures, nonprofits, whatever it is. We have all forms and all types. Interestingly, a very small minority of all of these projects are actually for-profit and / business-like ventures. So vast majority of them have nothing to do with any financial revenue. So today we're featuring some of these projects in order to serve as a source of inspiration and demonstration to everyone, to show you what is possible, what can be achieved, and kind of to walk you through how these students did that, bearing in mind that none of these projects are kind of done. And it's also very difficult to have a project that is done because you can always grow it, you can always expand it. It's a very dynamic thing. Without further ado, I will welcome our first project of the day, which is Sandeep's The Chess Effect. Sandeep, you have the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Gobert, for organizing, and thank you, everyone, for attending. So the Chess Effect is a nonprofit organization that I started in May 2021, with the mission of providing a pathway for all players in Arizona and throughout the United States, and of course throughout the world, to immerse themselves in the game of chess, which I believe can really help people in life because it teaches a lot of lessons. So the way we do this is by hosting fundraising tournaments online so far, but we're planning to go over the board as well, and by providing free lessons from our team of coaches that are mainly targeted towards underserved chess players, but are free for everyone else as well. So here, as you can see, our purpose is to promote the game of chess, obviously, and chess teaches life lessons such as the ability to plan, problem solve, and critical thinking, of course, which are so useful in the classroom and in life. And there's also some respect in chess between the participants, decorum, which can help people create relationships with others. And since at over the board tournaments, you spend quite a lot of time waiting before the game, most people tend to talk, and some of my best friends have been created through chess tournaments, which is why it's such a great way for kids who haven't had the same resources as everyone else to find friends and learn some very important skills by having fun playing chess. So when we started the Chess Effect, things were going great, but we did have some obstacles that we had to overcome. And we were able to overcome each and every one of them, and we're still overcoming them through these ways. So yeah, so when we started, I was the only coach and I was the founder of the Chess Effect, of course, but we've had to grow since that so that we can reach more people throughout Arizona and the United States. So I've been recruiting other high schoolers who love the game and love serving their community to also coach. And others have also started coaching now. And we've taught hundreds of hours of free lessons. So yes, that also allowed us to get some recognition, such as being featured on Chess Life magazine and in interviews with Fox 10. And most recently, I was awarded the Junior Achievement Arizona 18 Under 18 Entrepreneurship Award for the Chess Effect as a whole and all of our efforts in spreading the game throughout Arizona. And of course, our biggest obstacle was the COVID-19 pandemic, because we started off as a business model that was structured towards providing over-the-board tournaments and over-the-board lessons to upcoming players, because this is what was the normal before COVID-19. Almost all of chess was played over the board with very little effect of online tournaments. But after that, everyone had to adapt, and the Chess Effect was no different. So we found lichess.org to hold our tournaments because, from my experience, it's the most beginner-friendly platform where everything is free, so everyone can access everything. And through this, we created tournaments with over 50 players from beginners to masters. So it doesn't matter how involved you are in the game, and doesn't matter the location, everyone can play online, which is the biggest advantage of it. And of course, online lessons mean there's no transportation costs, so might be even better for the kids. So we haven't switched the lessons back to over the board, but we're planning to switch back to over the board tournaments because there's just something about over the board tournaments that makes it a bit different than online. And we're still gonna organize online tournaments. So now, as COVID-19 is dying down, we're switching back to a plan with both online and over the board tournaments so that our students can gain experience from all types of chess. So yes, this is a bit more about Lichess, which, as I said, is the most beginner-friendly platform where everything is free, and a lot of our lessons utilize Lichess.org as well because they have features like puzzles, which let you learn, and also studies, which you can put in games and analyze them, which are very useful for our students. And of course, the tournament platform is just amazing on Lichess. So without that, it would have been very difficult to switch online. But thanks to Lichess, we've been able to do it smoothly. And of course, we have a website at the Chess Effect at chesseffect.org, sorry, which is the biggest platform that we use for advertising our tournaments, our free lessons, and for also showing we have pages dedicated just to chess, which is very important to us as well. So on the Chess Effect, prospective students and prospective tournament players can learn about our mission, sign up for lessons, and register for the fundraising tournaments. And we also have pages that are dedicated to the game, just as I said, about videos about our favorite games, famous games of the past, and some interesting tactics. So we have had an impact in our 3 years that we've been coaching, but we're always trying to expand this, and we'll never be satisfied with what we've done. Despite we are satisfied, but we are always trying to expand it. So we've been able to introduce chess through hundreds of free lessons to hundreds of young upcoming players in Arizona, and many of them come from low-income families, of course, who would not have had access because private chess coaches can cost anywhere upwards of $100 an hour, which is very difficult for many young players who don't have the same resources as us to pay. So through this, we've been able to make sure that they get the resources that they need to take the next steps in their career. So some of our students have shown rating jumps of almost more than 400 points, which is a huge in the world of chess because the rating scale is on a scale of maybe 2,500. So 400 in that is huge. And two of our students have almost reached expert level, which is 2,000. So they're getting very close to being experts. And then the next step from that will be masters and being recognized by FIDE, the world body of chess. So through this, we've taught our students critical thinking skills, the ability to plan in the future and use prophylactic thinking, and managing their time, which are all skills that they can use in both chess and, of course, their larger life. And we've already organized 2 successful online tournaments with more than 100 players from beginners to masters, and we've raised more than $2,000 for Arizona Helping Hands through these. But we're planning to hold our 3rd annual online Chess Effect fundraiser this Sunday, May 21st, and we're going to hold our first over-the-board Chess Effect fundraiser in June, and we expect that one will be the largest one so far. So yes, as I said, we're holding the 3rd annual online tournament, May 2023, and the first over-the-board tournament, which will be the 2nd official FIDE event in Arizona, FIDE series in Arizona history. So a bit more about FIDE. FIDE is the governing body of chess in the world, and they have an international rating system, which has historically been underrepresented in Arizona because we just had our first FIDE rated tournament this March that happened. So before that, there was the only way you could be recognized internationally was by traveling outside to states like California or Texas. But now we are trying to convert that chess culture into Arizona to turn Arizona into the same type of chess powerhouses in our neighboring states. So, and of course, we're also expanding free private lessons. We're still recruiting top players in Arizona and across the US who share a love for chess and a passion for community service. And creating partnerships is another way that we are growing. We can collaborate with organizations such as Chess Life Magazine Online, Unity Chess Club, which is the largest chess club in Arizona. And these organizations share our love for the game and our passion for serving the community around us. So they can help us secure funding, resources, and support. And of course, our partnership with the Venture Fund has also helped us do this. So in conclusion, Our mission is to make chess accessible to everyone in Arizona, teaching them lessons from the game that they can use in their lives. And we do this by providing free lessons and by hosting fundraising tournaments. And if you want to get involved in the chess effect, you love the game and you want to serve your community, there are very easily accessible ways to do so. You can help organize fundraising tournaments online or in your community for chess players if you have a chess community. And you can also donate to the free lessons program on chesseffect.org. And you can word of mouth is a great way to spread our organization. And of course, the biggest way is by establishing a chess effect chapter in your community, because there are many communities that have a growing chess population, such as the Pennsylvania chess scene, the North Carolina chess scene, and many international chess scenes as well. So I'd like to thank everyone for listening to my presentation and for attending today. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Sandeep. Doing amazing things with the chess effect. And I actually personally don't know how to play chess. It's very embarrassing, but good for you and for the growth of your organization. Do stick around. I do want to share results of the funding applications with you towards the end of this showcase today, but thank you for telling us about your project. I'm going to hand over the time to our next featured project today, which is Justin Jia and his team, who run the Youth Peace Symposium. They will be able to tell you more about it themselves. Justin and Ning Ning, I believe you have the con.
Okay, hello guys. My name is Ning Ning Thor, and I'm here. I'm the founder and head director of Youth Peace Symposium, and I'm here with Justin Jia, the president of our organization, to introduce to you guys Youth Peace Symposium. All right. So YPS is a nonprofit organization brought by a group of young people promoting peace and cultural bridging. We say young people because we not only have high school students, but we also have college students from around the world who are interested in mentoring us high school students about the things that they learn in their college classes about specifically international relations and political science. And therefore, YPS is a platform for students from around the world to foster discussion, research, dialogue, and collaboration in IR and poli-sci. All right, so we created YPS in the beginning of the last summer, so June 2022, because of two reasons. The first reason is because I recognize that while there are many students who are interested in politics, there are just simply not a lot of opportunities for students to learn about the topic, especially on an international level. Hence, our first goal is to create a support system for students to raise awareness and initiate research on the global events happening around us. Now, the second reason is that due to the polarization of politics, whether it be domestic or international, we believe that it was very important that we also use the power of the internet to create a platform that allows students to share opposing viewpoints on various global political issues. Therefore, through initiatives like our forums, which I'll explain later, that we hope to foster an open-minded generation of scholars who can tackle the challenges facing today. So next, I would like to introduce to you guys some of the platforms that we have created to allow students to access our organization, learn more. The first is our official website, which is at youthpeacesymposium.org, and it serves as a hub for all of our activities and resources, such as our articles, our information on our forums, and our podcast episodes and member applications, and so much more. And our second platform that we use often to promote our organization is our Instagram, which is you can see in our next slide. And you can find our Instagram at Youth Peace Symposium, where we post posts and Instagram stories, which are created by our marketing team to promote our content. Some of this, most of them tends to be our articles that we just published, or our podcast episodes, or any informations about our upcoming forums. We have a couple of accomplishments, one of them being that we have been quite consistent with posting, especially last year. And we also have gained 470 followers. Right. So I've kind of dropped some hints about what kind of initiatives that we have as in our organization, and these are our 4 primary ones. So the first one is YPS Review, which is basically YPS's journal, where a lot of our members get to publish articles about any global events and their analysis about them to share about their opinions on the current events that happens around us. And the second one is Forums. So Forums is basically like a Zoom meeting that we host every single month, where we have an expert member who is willing to share about a topic that interests them. One of the ones that let's say Justin has introduced us last time was basically how Confucianism affects East Asian politics today. Now, through the Zoom meeting, students from around the world pretty much get to gather together and talk about these issues and also answer various questions. Our third initiative is chapters. So our main organization is centralized online to allow members from across the world to communicate with one another. However, we believe that it is also very important to have in-person discussions. And so therefore we created the chapters initiative. One of our first chapters is right now in Singapore, where students get to meet together in person and have more of a bonding to get to bond with other members more and talk about these issues more directly and also address more of the domestic political issues. And our fourth initiative is the podcasts. We have previously published our recordings of the forums to allow people who have not come to the forums to get a chance to listen to our conversations about our ideas. However, right now, Justin is leading a new initiative, a new series within the podcast, which is basically that he interviews many of the local restaurant owners in Vancouver who are immigrants. And so basically talks about the food they make, but also the history and current events that causes these immigrants to move to Vancouver and start these businesses, which is very fascinating. And so that's coming up. And on to the next page. Some general accomplishments. We have hosted 16 forums hosted by students from around the world, Australia, UK, the US, China, Japan, etc. And then we also have published 23 articles. And we also have our podcast, which is called More Than Headlines. We have 2 podcast episodes right now, but as I mentioned, Justin is currently on the making of many more episodes with our podcast team. And we also have established a Singapore chapter, which has accumulated 210 followers on Instagram and also has around a member of 10 on the domestic team. And now I'll be letting Justin talk about the rest of the presentation.
Of course, thank you. And besides from our current initiatives, YPS also plans to expand its activities in the next 6 months. We are currently working on a new podcast series that, as Nini mentioned earlier, that meets at the intersection of multiculturalism and global politics in different cities such as Vancouver, New York, and Singapore and Shanghai. In addition, we also plan to work with at least 2 organizations to bring more meaningful activities such as foundings for helping people from crisis around the world. So please stay tuned for that. And last but not least, besides from improving our curriculum, we also hope to create new chapters in 5 new cities or countries. So if you're interested in leading your own YPS chapter in your local community, please don't hesitate to reach out to us and get involved. And next slide, please. Thank you. And YPS is an inspiring example of what young people could achieve when they come together and work towards a common goal. We aim to empower high school and college students to connect and work together to become peace advocates and agents of change through a diverse means of platforms and activities such as forums, writing, podcasts, and even leading your own chapter in your local community. We hope to continue all of our wonderful activities and expand with more creative initiatives in the future. And next slide, please. Thank you. Now, that's it about us. And what role would you play in the Youth Pin Symposium? There are different memberships that you could consider based on your needs. First of all, you could join our emailing list and become a YPS member. We will send information such as article publication, a new podcast episode, or other events that you could participate in. And more importantly, you will receive invitations to our biweekly or monthly forums based depending on different months, hosted by high school students in China, the US, Canada, and Singapore. And just like you or university students who are currently majoring in political science or other humanity majors. Next, you could also consider applying to become part of the YPS executive team and work in the department that you prefer. Some current ones are forums, reviews, podcasts, and marketing. Moreover, if you're interested in creating or leading your own department in YPS, please do reach out to us and we would love to connect with you. Similarly, starting your own local chapter is another opportunity that you could consider. And the benefit really is that aside from the YPS support and curriculum, you could also host more personalized initiatives that meet the needs of your own local community. And last but not least, our writing competition is open for submission now. So please check out the prompts from our website or Instagram and win prizes. And here will be the poster of our writing competition. We have 2 prompts currently, and the submission is ready through the website. It is our pleasure to be here today and present YPS to you guys. And thank you again, Ms. Scobert, for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you everyone for listening. YPS is really excited to connect and meet all of you. Please join YPS to get involved and let's make a difference.
Thank you, Ning Ning and Justin, for being here and for that presentation for us. I thought that was really comprehensive, and with especially the call to action. And that's kind of the message that I want to take a couple minutes to tell everyone here today, which is that if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, for example, by starting your own project or organization, starting a chapter could be a very good alternative. So you can join an already established organization, and you can also have the experience of truly doing something, starting something by yourself by doing a chapter where in your local community where that organization doesn't currently have a presence. So this could really be a very 2 birds, 1 stone, win-win kind of situation for anyone out there, or perhaps on this call, considering, weighing the cost-benefit analysis of doing your own project and organization, and kind of a little bit worried about the time commitment. Doing a chapter could be a very good solution to that. So thank you very much, Justin and Ning Ning, for joining us today. I will move on now to the next item. We already have our next presenter, Suvet, who's here with us. It's not going to be a student project. We're moving back to student research. Suvet is going to be telling us about solving healthcare data fragmentation to drive better patient outcomes. Suvet, would you like me to run the slides for you, or would you prefer to do that yourself?
If you don't mind, I'd like to just present my own screen.
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen? Okay. Great. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Suved. Like Joel sort of introduced, I'll be talking about solving healthcare data fragmentation to drive better patient outcomes. So I'm sure all of us have sort of always gone to the doctor, the physician, or the ophthalmologist, any healthcare professional for that matter. And we always sort of had to tell them about like any sort of updates that happen because like they never seem to know. And it always wastes that little bit of time. Every time you visit a doctor where, it's just like, oh, did this happen while we didn't sort of get to connect over the past 6 months? And this represents a very real problem in the medical landscape right now of data fragmentation. I believe there's just a statistic saying that around $530 billion are being lost every year to just solving these issues of inappropriate medications, incorrect diagnoses, and just duplicate tests. And sort of just going up the slide here, US healthcare has the highest healthcare expenses as a percentage of GDP and drug prices in the world, subpar healthcare outcomes compared to other developed markets, highest rates of avoidable deaths, and lowest life expectancy. And of course, the Harvard study also pointed out this excessive fragmentation in the healthcare system. And what's being caused by is a lack of data sharing among healthcare professionals. And I'd also like to make a point about COVID-19 in that the pandemic sort of exacerbated and brought out this problem because in a time of great need, healthcare professionals were not able to sort of collaborate just because all of this data was not being able to be shared for them to sort of epidemiologically analyze the COVID-19 sort of disease and come up with an outcome, a vaccine or solution right there and then and sort of help the world. So this represents an opportunity. So according to McKinsey and Co's 2022 report, there are three main technologies. I know this is sort of hard to see on the left here, but on the left are sort of there's the industries listed out and different technologies. And for healthcare, the ones like listed in black are the ones that are really that are going to be most influential. So those are industrialized machine learning, next gen distributed computing, and trust architecture. So with industrialized machine learning, it's going to be about sort of not having just experimentative point solutions, but instead moving to enterprise grade solutions to provide real-time diagnoses. And next-gen distributed computing, this is really going to be about leveraging cloud technologies and microservice architecture just to provide containerization, interoperability, and just again, that seamless sort of integration of data between disparate sources. And then trust architecture, of course, we're dealing with very sensitive patient data here. So it's going to have to be kept very safely in safety systems, which is where the trust architecture will come in. So the solution, this calls for the implementation of a healthcare data platform that will unify multiple sources of patient data across EHRs, including prescriptions, doctor notes, medical reports, images, and of course, with the end goal of hydrating a single unified record. So the key objectives for this model are the four listed here. So starting with data unification, I mean, of course, the main problem here is fragmentation. So just sort of pulling together and aggregating all of this data is going to be the main goal. Data governance and AI. Like I mentioned before, of course, we're dealing with very sensitive patient data. So there's going to have to be stringent and strict data governance guidelines in place with all the technologies being HIPAA compliant, just to make sure all of this data is being stored safely. And the AI component is going to be about just providing real-time diagnoses, actionable insights that medical professionals can take away and apply to the field right away. Next, performance and extensibility. Performance is mainly referring to sort of the microservice architecture that I mentioned earlier with like next-gen distributed computing. This is the idea that basically like sort of all the services in the architecture are out of the box. So if one of them sort of stops malfunction, it just stops working for whatever reason, it's not, the whole platform is not going to just sort of come crashing down, but instead it can keep functioning, and that problem can get addressed later down the road and fixed. And then extensibility, again, this is sort of referring to the cloud aspect of this, in that it'll provide sort of with all the big data functionality, it will provide for a lot of scalability in the platform, and we won't just be limited to any sort of barrier. And customer experience, this is again about just connecting the patient to the healthcare professional, with of course the issue of data fragmentation. So the main priority is just going to be connecting these two and not having sort of sessions be just about the healthcare professional conducting administrative functions of just taking note of what happened in the past that they missed out on, but instead they can pay more attention to the patient and sort of get them the care they need with the right medication and all of that. And that can only happen if they have all the right information updated and aggregated in one place for convenient access. So this is the model. There are like four main components here: security component, tracking and audit component, EHR transformation component, and AI machine learning component. So I know it's a little hard to see, but the security component that's here The two main technologies that are here are Amazon Cognito, Active Directory, and IAM roles. This is mainly about, of course, given we're dealing with sensitive patient data, Amazon Cognito and Active Directory and IAM roles. This is basically assign IAM roles to whoever's on sort of accessing the database of the platform, and just ensure for authorization and authentication of sort of everybody who's coming on there, just to make sure that really only healthcare professionals are accessing it, and we don't really have any, hackers or anybody like that getting in and mishandling and misusing the data. Next, moving on to the right of that, there's the tracking and audit component. So there's the main two technologies here. Basically, just as a sidetrack, the whole architecture is based on AWS technologies. So all of these are AWS. So next we have AWS CloudTrail and AWS X-Ray. So CloudTrail will basically just track all of the actions of users on the platform for whatever purpose, security purposes in the future. And AWS X-Ray will just keep a track of like the system itself, and it provides debugging, debugging functionalities if that's needed. And both this component in general with these two technologies comes in handy also with sort of, if there's external regulations, they can provide audit reports for that as well. So then moving on to sort of the right here, we have the EHR transformation component. This is like the main part of this basically. So if you sort of look from like the very left of the diagram, it's like there's like data coming in like different formats. I think I mentioned on an earlier slide, where was it? Yeah, they can come in different forms such as prescriptions, doctor notes, medical reports, images, and even like audio files. So basically whatever form that data is coming in, it will go into the EHR transformation component. And there are like two main technologies here that will help first like convert the data. There's like Amazon Textract, which is mainly used for text and just converting that. And there's also Amazon Transcribe Medical, or I think Medical Transcribe, something like that. And that helps with basically, if there was like audio files, it can convert that as well. So all of these will be converted into the JSON format and can be stored in the S3 buckets and then onto DynamoDB. And then moving on to the final component, this is AI and machine learning component. The main technology being utilized here is AWS SageMaker. So basically that will be used, it will take the data in the EHR transformation component stored in DynamoDB, and it will use all of that data to train machine learning models with the end goal of course, sort of coming away with intelligent insights for doctors and healthcare professionals to use to combat diseases, and ultimately the bottom line being providing better patient outcomes. So just wrapping up here, basically design an extensible architecture to integrate data using cloud-based microservices with the whole sort of AWS thing going on. And the main goal is aggregating EMRs, EHRs from disparate data sources, and provides a foundational starting point for handling complexity. It's very scalable with sort of microservice architecture and cloud technology. And as for future cases, I mean, we could start with onboarding healthcare research organizations with the goal of aiding early disease detection and training machine learning models in this area. So that was pretty much my paper. That was what I worked on. I'd like to thank, once again, Dr. Jean-Claude Franchetti from the NY Corn Institute for all of his help on this. I really couldn't have done it without all of his guidance and support. And I'd also like to thank Ms. Gobert for just organizing this whole thing. This was a great opportunity just for me to present my work. And I hope all of you found this interesting. So thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Suvet. I think that it was a very, very good topic, and something that definitely everyone can relate to, feeling like you have to retell your own medical history again and again and again. Shouldn't there be some kind of central database for this? So I think it was a very pertinent topic, and thank you for sharing with us what seems to be an excellent student research. I'm going to move on to the next item now, which is our last project for the day. And then after that, we have other things that are coming up, but this is the last project that will be shared in this showcase. So we have Joanna here with us, Joanna Deng, who is calling in from China, I believe. And her project is Hug Me, as well as Women's Circles. So she's going to tell you more about it. Joanna, tell us, where in China are you, if you are?
Yeah, I am based in Guangzhou now.
Okay, very good. So excellent. Do you want me to run your slides for you? Would you like to do it yourself?
I think I can do myself.
Okay, go for it.
Can you guys see the screen? Can you guys see the screen? Okay.
Yep, all good.
Okay. Yeah, so I want to introduce two projects. One is the Hug Me campaign, and the other one is Women's Circle today. Yeah. So let's enter the Hug Me campaign. Basically, it's a platform to relax, learn, and enjoy. So if you love psychology, you will definitely love Hug Me campaign. If you don't know anything about psychology, Hug Me also fits you, because Hug Me help people to relax from the daily stress, and help people to handle their negative emotions, and also let people to enjoy the world. So our ultimate goal of Hug Me is to let you enjoy the world. So we provide a safe and private platform for people to share their stories and experiences. We will have different topics in different months. And during this sharing, people can address their stress and pressure that people face in the world and encourage them to speak out about their feelings. During each online activities, different individuals can make friends with each others. And also we provide lots of academic resources to aid self-discovery. Most of the resources are psychological based. So people can read about like why people will be angry and why people will feel sad. So how to handle with these emotions. So what we have done, I created a website with different sections. I divided into three. The first one is the theme-based story sharing, and then is the academic knowledge learning, and the last one is the touchable stories reading. Also, I use different social media platforms to showcase the event, to publicize the Hug Me. The Redbook account, a Chinese social platform, it is another platform besides the Hug Me that I can select or collect the stories from the others, because now I still need people still need VPN to log in the Hug Me platform. So people who are based in China can use the Redbook account to share their stories. And I also use the WeChat official accounts to record each online activities, which help people to review. So here is the platform, and I also show the link. When you log in the platform, you can see that there are three sections. When you click the stories garden, you can read the stories from others. When you're reading them, you can feel that you are not alone. And the sharing box is a place that you can write the stories about yourself based on the monthly topic. The last one is the article time. You can read lots of psychological articles here. The accomplishments. I had already held 4 online meetings with 4 different monthly topics and relative academic information. Those topics include family role, life after pandemic, and handling with negative emotions. During this discussion, people find that their experience is not unique, but their life is unique. They actually find the meaning of life. And also I received lots of stories submission from Redbook and the Hug Me website. So what is the difficulties? The biggest difficulty I had met is that the Hug Me is not very well known to the public yet. So I developed some marketing strategies. Firstly, I want to invented the Hug Me kit, which is a kind of like the online kit that's include lots of articles and resources. And the people can access different part of this kit when they have different problems. For example, I am very down today, so I can access the part of the kit that deal with the negative emotions, and I can find the answers about how to handle the negative emotions here. Also, I want to explore partnership with the individuals and institutions and have more activities on WeChat group. Hold some of sorry. Sorry for interrupting. Let's begin. Let's read. Can you guys see the screen? Okay. Okay, so let's continue. And also I want to host some offline activities to attract more people and add some interactive feature on the website. So for the future growth, I also want to recruit more people to the team, and I think I will continue this activity even I was in the university. I am in the university, and also I want to hold some offline activities to engage with more people. Yes, that is all about the Hug Me. Let me introduce some information about the Women's Circle. This is the space for women to share their opinions. So before talking about the goal of Women's Circle, I want to talk about the basic structure about the Women's Circle. This is a school-based activity, and it has two founders. The first one is me, and the second one is my classmate. And we created this organization for a safe place for women to freely express their opinions and listen to thoughts of different women on various social issues. So what we have done? We will hold discussions weekly on the campus. About discussion, we will select the topics from the group. So basically is that after each discussion, we will ask group member about what kinds of topic do they want in the next discussion, and then we will combine or select some topics from those. And those topics range from women, gender, femininity to women's preferences. Also, we have our own WeChat official account to write some report after each discussion. So the accomplishment is that we had already held 8 offline meetings with 50 more people who joined, and we talked lots of information about gender stereotype and how to fight against it, and the Virgin complex, the definition of a good girl, and the history influence on women's stereotype. And we will touch on more deeper issues in later meeting. So why we invented the Women's Circle? It is basically because we are very attentive to the gender issues, and we created this Women's Circles for girls. Is this okay for like the Wi-Fi? Is Wi-Fi stable now?
Cutting out a little bit before, but it's back now. It's all good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes. Can you hear that?
Okay, yeah. It will end quickly. So the challenge is not very well. So to share these activities with people around them and hold activities during gender-related festivals. For example, we publicize for the future growth, we will continue the operation of this organization, even if the founders reach the university. Also, I want to attract more people to activities. Yeah, because help people in different areas to join us all. That is.
No,
Yeah.
thank you. Joanna. Apologies to our audience for the parts where the audio was a little bit shaky. But if you want to find out more about Hug Me or the women's circles, feel free to reach out to myself or Joanna directly. You can just go to her site. It's just that I believe sometimes the VPNs may not always be very stable connecting from China. So I nevertheless want to thank you, Joanna, for presenting about your project and for being here with us. It must be late Sunday night for you. So thank you very much. I'm going to move on to the next item we have, which I'm going to tell you guys, all our audience members who are here, a little bit more about what we do at the Leadership and Innovation Lab as a demonstration of how is it that as the kind of environment and ecosystem that we have that nurtures projects like the ones that you've just heard about and seen. And then we're going to go on to talk about results of our funding cycle. So without further ado, I'm just gonna go ahead and hit my screen share. Okay. Hopefully everyone can see this. Yes. All right, I am here. Okay. So a quick overview about the Leadership and Innovation Lab. So this is a lab, a full ecosystem where we are dedicated to helping projects like the ones you've just heard about to be brainstormed, be conceived, grow, elevate, etc. So any stage is possible. So it's not like you need to have a ready-made project organization before you come to us for help to grow it. No, if you have nothing, you can still come and we'll find your project together, or we'll find a project for you. Remember earlier today when we talked about how you could just start a chapter of an existing student group? That could be a solution that we would find for you together if that's your preference and works well for your profile. Okay. Some very common woes from students on their entrepreneurial journey. So where do I begin? I don't know how to convince people to join me. Nobody's going to listen to me. I don't know how to recruit. I don't know how to sell, etc., etc. I'm very used to hearing these kinds of fears. So if you feel this, you are not alone. Neither are you incompetent, inadequate, none of that. So let all of that go. You are just normal, okay, to feel this way. And anyone, even all of the presenters here that you've heard from with their seemingly really impressive projects, they at some point felt this too. And if you ask them, they will tell you, yes, I wasn't sure that this is something that I could do. And so bit by bit, step by step, we will get there. The secret is always piecemeal, small steps, a bit at a time. Okay. How else do we help you? So very quickly, I'm not going to go through this in detail. So we teach you in the lab about learning about leadership, entrepreneurship, and innovation. So we go through past successful case studies, kind of like the projects that we've heard here today, as well as talking about various leadership styles, understanding yourself better as a leader, as an entrepreneur. What are your natural tendencies? What kind of projects might you be more adapted to, suited to, interested in doing, etc. And then we learn about the theoretical knowledge. How in theory are you supposed to motivate people? How are you supposed to market? How are you supposed to sell stuff? This theoretical component under stage 1 over here is the smallest part of the program. The main parts of the program are 2 and 3, which is extremely hands-on. So you will then move on to the hands-on creation or growth of your own project and your own organization. If you already have something, then obviously you don't have to create a new one. You can just work on what you have. So we will help you by week 3. Most students have a clear project action plan. We will help you to execute this plan, to use the theoretical knowledge that you learn in class to apply it directly to your project, to your organization, to grow it as the program is ongoing. So we teach you everything that you might need to know: how to recruit people, how to handle personnel problems, how to fire people, how to instill and cultivate team discipline, marketing and publicity, sales and fundraising, even all the way up to how to incorporate your personal LLC, limited liability corporation, how to register as an official nonprofit status, etc. So when I say we teach you, we get into details. So I even role play conversations with my students, like how would you get through this very difficult and awkward conversation of firing someone? Pretend I'm your friend, fire me. So I do that with students to really take them through this entrepreneurial process. Step number 3 is we have other elements in our lab, in our ecosystem, that really helps to expand and level up organizations and projects within our network. So we both help you to find organizations to join if you want, or we help you recruit. So within our network, my students tell me that they need to recruit, and they tell me what kind of profile and competences they're looking for, and then I look for people for them. And then I join them up. So that there are two main advantages of this. Number one, students have a big help in recruiting. Usually, if students recruit on their own, it's probably only people in the same school. So this immediately helps you expand your reach. And I always try to link up people internationally. So immediately that makes for a more elevated impact, a more elevated impressiveness level, because the project does have international reach. So that's one of the helps that we give. We also have repositories of existing student projects that I can just give to students to inherit. So they don't have to start anything new. They can take over something that already exists and make it bigger and better. So all my students know that they can come to me for one-to-one mentorship. They can book time on my schedule, and then we can talk, and I can help them directly anytime they want. I'm constantly on the lookout for potential partnership and collaboration opportunities in students in our network. And not only do I link them up, I tell them exactly what I think that they should do together. So I really pave the way, and students just have to walk it. And one last thing that we do help with is legacy planning. So as our last speaker, Joanna, said, her Women's Circle and Hug Me project is something that she will be interested in taking with her, but that's not true for everyone. Some people lose interest, some people want to move on to different things, and that's totally fine. So we teach our students how to do legacy planning, which means if you don't want to do this anymore, that's fine, but let's put in place mechanisms and plans so that somebody else can take over, and somebody else can make sure that all the blood, sweat, and tears you put into building this project doesn't just die, isn't just wasted. So that's legacy planning. That's making sure that when you leave, that project continues, that organization still functions, and that benefit is still there. All right. As an additional bonus, thinking about legacy planning really makes you stand out above the crowd in a very competitive admissions field, because firstly, a lot of projects don't think about legacy planning, and it's the way that you demonstrate your maturity to admissions officers to show them that, you know, you truly care about this cause. You want this project that you've started to remain as a permanent benefit and fixture in your local community or in the online community. And even if you are cognizant that one day you yourself lose interest in the project, you don't want all your good work and hard work to just disappear with you as you lose interest. So really helps showcase your maturity as a leader when you do a little bit of legacy planning and succession management. All of this to say that this is something that I help my students with, to guide them through the process of doing that, so that not only are their projects the best that it could be, if one day they don't want to do these projects anymore, that hard work is not wasted, and they demonstrate an additional layer of maturity. Cool. All right. Some of our ecosystems, the Leadership and Innovation Labs features and unique resources. So like I said, I do a lot of active curation to link up students and projects. We have the marketplace, which I built for recruitment and for connection purposes. I also mentioned that we have a repository of existing student organizations and projects for direct takeover. Now, this does not necessarily work for everyone, because in the existing student projects that are available for takeover, it has to work with your profile, work with your intended major, work with your life circumstances, because bearing in mind that these were projects started by a whole other person with very different circumstances. So it cannot just be taken over by any person with completely different interests, for example. So for direct takeover of existing projects, usually I would have to, you know, kind of speak to the student first, understand where they are, what kind of profile they have, make sure that there is a right fit before we do this kind of handover process. All right. And number 4, there is, of course, our annual showcase, which you are all currently at. So thank you for being here. To help students display their projects, as well as high quality student research. And lastly, we have our LIL Venture Fund, to help students grow. So this venture fund is very special. I believe that it's the only funding mechanism currently existent, as far as I know, that is dedicated only to funding high school level student projects. All right. I'm not going to go that much into detail on all of this. So just to give you an example about how is it that we facilitate collaboration and partnership, what does active curation mean? So I gave you an example here. These are real students. So we have a student 1, for example, currently in our leadership and innovation lab. She's interested in biology and human anatomy and community service. So her project is to fundraise by selling anatomy themed stickers. And then student 2, another student also currently in our network, is interested in STEM, medicine, and teaching. So he launched a podcast with original episodes discussing disease and current events in medicine. So what I did was that I linked these 2 students up. I spoke to them individually about this potential partnership idea that I have, see what they think, see if they like it, so that nobody is blindsided. And then once they both agreed, I linked them up and suggested ways that they could collaborate. And then I facilitated the arrangements. So the outcome of this is that student 1 is featured as a guest speaker on student 2's podcast to discuss human anatomy related topics. So student 1 benefits from having diversity in their speaker role, in their speaker profiles. There are guest speakers, there is additional interesting topic to be featured on the podcast. And then student 2, the person selling anatomy stickers will use the podcast platform to publicize her stickers to promote sales. So win-win situation for everyone here. And I do this for all of the projects in our lab, really to help each and every project expand and level up. All right, this is an example, a screenshot of the student organization marketplace, which I've talked about. So you can see on this student organization marketplace, all of the different student projects, student organizations in our network and without. These are literally all the student projects and organizations that I could find. Even if they're not in our lab, they're there. Because I don't see why I should deprive our students of the knowledge that there are these potential other organizations out there, even if they're not directly affiliated to our lab. Because my genuine purpose here is to help those projects get bigger and get better. So through this marketplace, you can recruit people, you can put your own organization up there, and you can say who you're looking for. For example, under here, you're looking for fundraising, you're looking for graphic, you're looking for marketing persons, or you can find a project to join. So if you click on hiring, you'll see all the projects that are hiring, and then you can pick which one you're interested in. And like I said, leader for takeover, we can directly install students into key positions of existing organizations and projects, but within very specific circumstances. So this doesn't work for everyone. And regardless, it will always be more impressive for you and a more impactful learning journey if you were to start something on your own, meaning you really built it from scratch. I think you can ask any of our presenters over here that experience is both irreplaceable and highly rewarding. Okay, we are at the showcase, so not going to speak a lot more about that. Funding, I'm getting to it. So we offer up to 10K a year of funding for promising student projects and organizations. Like I said, I think it's the only venture fund in existence dedicated to funding high school level student projects. So very, very exciting. And I want to talk a little bit about our programs, and then I will move on to sharing the results of the funding cycle. So bear with me. We do have the intensive version as well as the extended version. So 9 weeks and 15 weeks. And the intensive version obviously will be more hours per week. The extended version, the working pace is a little bit slower. Both these programs have 8 small group meetings, have office hours, have the kinds of guidance and mentorship that you were required to build your own project. The main difference is that the extended program has an additional 7 live work sessions. What are live work sessions? It's when students bring what they need to do for the project to class under supervision, and I help them with it. So instead of doing it as homework on their own, maybe say, for example, today, someone in the extended program has to, pardon me, write a marketing email, and they don't know how to do that. So they would bring that piece of assignment to the live work session, and I would help them write the marketing email during the live work session so that we make very concrete progress in their projects, because I supervise them to make sure that things are moving, things are running. So the extended version tends to be for students who have a little bit more luxury of time. If you're in a bit of a rush, probably not the best for you, as well as for younger students who would like a little bit more guidance. Students who are comfortable with a faster and more intensive working pace and who want things done in a shorter time span, the intensive program would probably work better. Yeah. Okay. There is also what we call LIL Ongoing, which is basically just one-to-one mentorship with me. So the group programs, the intensive and extended that I just talked about, those are group programs. Not everyone is able to fit the group programs into their schedule or has that time slot that they're able to attend the group sessions. So if that's you, your schedule is incredibly busy, but you would still like some guidance, we can do it one-to-one. Then that would be completely flexible. I would fit your schedule and fit your timing. And we can do whatever it is that you require in those sessions. If you would like me to talk to you about marketing, that's what we'll talk about. If you would like me to help you with cold calling, that's what we'll do. So completely tailored to what the student needs. Yeah. Very good for students who are pressed for time, schedules are really full, and students who really want to achieve a lot of results in a short time. And it's suitable for any grade. You don't have to be of a certain age to get it. And the last thing I'll talk about is AZ Futures, which is an entrepreneurship competition geared program. So over 6 weeks, it's a rather intensive program. You meet 2 to 3 hours per week. There are 2 to 3 meetings of the class per week for 6 weeks. You learn about entrepreneurship, small business, and then you throughout the whole 6 weeks of the AZ Futures program, you prepare for the Blue Ocean High School entrepreneurship competition. So the program will take you through how to do these kinds of things that you need to know, how to write a pitch, how to present a pitch, how to finally prepare and fine-tune your entry into these into the Blue Ocean entrepreneurship competition. So that's a very concrete outcome you'll have at the end of the AZ Futures program. Suitable for grades 9 to 12, and especially recommended if you are interested in business, entrepreneurship, consulting, and the like. Let me clarify that for the AZ Futures program, it is for people who are interested in business, finance, entrepreneurship, econs, those kinds of areas. For the Leadership and Innovation Lab as a whole, we welcome any field. There is no business finance tilt, all right? We have students working on animal rights, gender studies. We have students who are not doing anything related to STEM or doing things only related to STEM, for instance, all possible. Okay. All right, so if you would like to join our lab, or if you would like to just get in touch with me because you want to discuss your suitability, your project, see how we can help you, I invite you to come talk to us. You can visit our website, leadershipinnovationlab.org. You can directly email me. It's not difficult to find me. I think my email is very obviously displayed on the website. Or you can simply comment in the Q&A here or in the chat, and I will respond to you personally. Yeah. Cool. Okay, let me just have a look if our next speaker is here. We are moving on now to talk about the results of our first batch of funding. So remember I said about the LIL Venture Fund, we have we're the only funding mechanism meant for high school level student projects. So we've had applications for funding for our May 2023 cycle, and today we're announcing which projects have received those funding. Very exciting time. I had wanted to get one of our alumni from our Leadership and Innovation Lab, who his project was born in our lab. I wanted to get him here to share with you because his project is growing really well. Unfortunately, I'm not sure where he is. So he may just be running a little bit late. I will go ahead to announce the results regardless. Okay, there we go. All right. Thank you everyone for your patience with me. Hopefully you're all able to see this. I'm working on my screen share. There we go. Okay, very good. So I think I had invited the people who had applied for funding to attend this showcase so they can find out the results of their applications directly. But I see that some of them are not here. It's fine. They will find out the happy news later on. Welcome to the May 2023 funding cycle award ceremony. So I'm going to share with you some stats about this funding cycle. We received a total of 23 applications, and total funds requested was upwards of 33,000. which is a lot. So budget that we have for this funding cycle is unfortunately only 5,000, but the enthusiasm of the response that we received, as well as the quality of the projects, has really made me think that we might need to up this budget that we have for the funding cycle. So I think this is good news for our next funding cycle, because clearly a lot of students are interested in what it is that the LIL Venture Fund is offering. So how were your applications reviewed? All the applications are reviewed holistically, meaning you are not judged against another application. You're judged by your own merit, each project's own merit, and separately 2 rounds by 2 limited partners. So each evaluation is holistic and individual, and it has been done twice, just to make sure, we try and remove bias, we try and be as objective as possible. So both of these limited partners evaluated each application independently. If they agree, great. If they disagree, then there was a process to find consensus on both funding decisions as well as funding amount. The limited partners met to discuss the points where they disagreed and reach a consensus. The general partner, which is me, yours truly, then reviewed all recommendations by the limited partners about funding to determine the final funding decisions and amounts, which is what you're about to see here today. So out of the 23 applications, we have awarded funding to 14. We've really tried to benefit as many projects as possible. So you might find that you've been awarded funding, but not the amount that you've asked for. And that's because we've really tried to weigh our budget against the number of people and projects that we would like to help. And that's the reason why. In addition, we have every funding cycle is 6 months. So it's possible that you maybe didn't get the full amount that you were hoping to be funded today, but you're welcome to reapply again in 6 months to get more. Yep. Okay, so our first project that we are funding is Mathlinks by Helen. I believe that if you were here at our showcase yesterday, Helen shared with us her project Mathlinks, which is truly impressive. Registered 501c3 nonprofit organization providing free online and on-site competition math classes for elementary and middle school students. They're very interested in promoting math education, math competition prep in general. This organization started in 2021, so 2 years ago, and it's since grown to 110 plus teachers, touching 900 plus students from 10 countries, multiple national chapters and international branches. A lot of concrete achievables and demonstrated track records. So we've decided to award 500 USD to Mathlinks. Helen has given us a plan for what her next steps with Mathlinks are, and we want to put some funds towards helping her achieve that. So I'm not sure if Helen is here on this call with us. Regardless, congratulations, Helen, if you're here. Okay, next project that we're funding is called Pads Now by a student, Bridge Tianshui Li. Very, very unique and interesting project, especially considering that it's a project in mainland China. So considering social circumstances, this project is quite revolutionary. It's committed to creating a community that celebrates period positivity. So their main initiatives focus on addressing menstruation issues, women's menstrual health issues, and period poverty. So it's a group of girls who felt very strongly about this issue. They believe in the power of unions. They work very closely with various charity organizations and similar groups in various high schools in Beijing, Shanghai, Shenzhen, other parts of China as well, to maximize their efforts. Their current project, their main initiative, is this thing called the Now Box, which is care boxes in women's rooms filled with various hygiene products that I guess students, teachers, female staff, anyone who wants it really can borrow. And then the only condition is that you put it back within a week. Obviously a replacement. So they have big expansion plans. They're launching out into a podcast, into a community. They want to start a line of merchandise to raise funds, as well as create a music festival. So all of these plans are over the next 3 years. So like I said, I will invite this organization to reapply for funding in the next funding round. For their plans within the next 6 months, we've decided to award them 650 USD. Right. The third group that we're funding is the United Speakers Global, USG. So this group is run by, I believe the president is Fiona Shen. It's a big group run by a lot of people, but Fiona is, I believe, the CEO. So entirely youth-led, under 18, federally registered nonprofit in Canada, quite a lot of volunteers globally. Their whole point is to help students develop public speaking skills, introduce them to different types of public speaking styles, like British parliamentary debate, like Model UN, like DECA, for example. It has expanded to 12 different branches across Canada internationally, and also impacted about 750 students. So they're in all of these countries and locations. Fiona has told me in her funding application that they are hoping to organize a summer camp this year to teach public speaking. And that's the main reason why they're asking for funds. For that purpose, we've decided to help them with 450 USD. Okay, next up. Material Bank, also in Canada, by Catherine Ma. Pardon me, I have a little bit of a cough that my children have spread to me. Please excuse me. So Material Bank, inspired by barriers to educational and creative success, they're really trying to basically collect and repurpose supplies, educational materials that otherwise would go to waste, kind of give it a second life. They're working with it currently discussing partnerships with Afghan Women's Organization, Sunnyview Junior Senior Public School, Toronto Public Library. So very, very oriented towards their local community. They're quite focused on bettering their local community as well as hitting the goal of reduce, reuse, recycle. So something that is definitely always pertinent and always welcome. They are hoping to use these donations to fundraise, benefit less privileged communities, etc. I believe that this project is in a very nascent stage, so they are definitely less established than the 3 other projects that we've just talked about that have been awarded funding. But Catherine has explained to me that this amount of money is kind of really important for them to get things going. For example, to organize their first event, their first fundraiser. So we've decided to award them 300 USD to really get the ball rolling. Okay, next up is Harper Bernowski, who I see you on this call, Harper. Hello, welcome. Who runs Bikes for Kids. So it's an organization that she started this year at school. They raise money for the Children's National Hospital in DC. At her club fair, she recruited about 60 members, 30 of which come to their bi-weekly meetings. This is an impressive amount. So well done to you, Harper. 60 club members, 30 showing up for regular meetings is very, very impressive for a student club. They've raised $1,300 so far through various big sales, carol singing events. And they also work with Turkathon, which is the largest student-run philanthropic organization in the state of Maryland. So very, very well-organized student group, for charity. And we've decided to award them 150 USD for their upcoming plans. I believe, Harper, you mentioned that you wanted to make your fundraiser event bigger and better. So hopefully this money will go towards helping with that. A very good example here that I kind of wanted to point out to everyone who's on this call and to my students in general is if you look at an organization like Harper's Bikes for Kids, it's not doing anything that is incredibly novel. So this is not meant to be any kind of reproach, Harper. I want to clarify. My point is I'm a big fan of not reinventing the wheel. So you don't necessarily have to do something completely original and new for your project to be worth something. A project like this, like Bikes for Kids, is extremely valuable, demonstrates your maturity, your leadership, your entrepreneurial spirit, but it's not a completely new idea. So if you're feeling that, whatever idea that I have, someone would have done it already, that's not a problem. The important thing is that you do it too. All right. We have next up Deep ST from Alex, which honestly was one of the projects that really, really impressed us on a STEM tech level. So I believe Alex and a team of 2 of his peers, they are developing I'm not even sure I understood it fully. My limited partners who helped me run the venture fund, I think they understood it better than I do when they did the initial rounds of evaluations. But from what I understand, it's a novel telepresence solution that employs deep learning techniques to enhance semantic communication and basically make video conferencing better, like Zoom, but making it better. So they're developing a prototype that addresses 2 critical interdependent tasks. So designing the overall software system architecture and then developing a kind of a learning-enabled joint source coding channel to allow for faster and smoother communication. So they are building that prototype right now. They need a lot of computing software and specific technologies in order to be able to finish building their prototype. And it's for this reason that they're asking for funding. But very, very impressive project, especially at a high school level. So I really, really wanted to show my support to Alex and his team and wishing them all the best for Deep ST. Hopefully the prototype goes well. I invite you really to come back and ask for more funding in the next funding cycle if you require. So we've decided to award them 400 USD. Okay, next up is in the Cur. So a Canadian group from ARA, as well as his peers, 4 teenagers based in Vancouver. They specialize in delivering clothing that expresses style in a relatable way for young adults. So they want to provide it's a clothing line at an attainable price. And I think that they also have other goals beyond just selling the clothes. So they want to inspire other young adults to start their own business. They believe that, our generation, well, maybe I'm not the same generation as my students, probably not, but their generation is underrepresented in the fashion industry, and they want to use their brand, their platform to kind of increase the visibility and impact of the younger generation in the fashion industry. From what I understand, Ara and his team, they already have their next collection good to go. And part of this funding is required for manufacturing so that they can go ahead to then sell the line. So we've decided to award them 300 USD. Next up is Audrey. Audrey's project, Epistemic. Epistemic is very education oriented. It's targeting the under-resourced parts of Orange County community in California, especially younger adolescent students where there is a general lack of STEM interest. So the point of the project is to introduce and pique interest in STEM through, an exciting and engaging educational experience. Hopefully this will inspire more younger students to go into STEM. It could be a great way for them to contribute to their community. And I believe Audrey is asking for this funding also for summer classes as part of the Epistemic project in order to be able to make this kind of STEM interest exploration and education accessible to the less privileged parts of Orange County. So for Audrey, we are giving you 350 USD. And Justin, who I believe is here in his Youth Peace Symposium, as you guys heard from Justin and his team just now, YPS is rather established as a student group, and they want to provide opportunities for students to learn more about international relations, global politics, a whole host of very impressive accomplishments for a student group. I believe that they were applying for funding mostly to facilitate the running of their forums, as well as things that they need, for example, to do marketing. So if I understand correctly, it's subscription fees to platforms like Zoom Pro, to Canva, and we really want to help with those subscription fees. Like I said, we have quite a limited budget. I would have liked to give more funds to all of these projects. Unfortunately, we're working with our hands tied a little bit, so we did the best that we could. We would like to award Youth Peace Symposium 100 USD, and if you need more, like I said, come back. Okay, Sana Borka with her project PetBit, which very, very interesting project. It's a business venture, so she actually wants to sell and market this. It's a pet wearable device called PetBit, designed to revolutionize today's pet wearable market by being cost-efficient, comprehensive solution to manage pets' location, activity, training. So from what I understand, it has safety, health, behavior elements, basically everything that you could potentially want with a pet, it does. So her suggested retail price is $49.99, and potentially it could even go into a subscription-based model, something kind of like your phone plan. So she's gone through several iterations of her prototype already, and she's gathered feedback, really made the prototype from scratch, made it better with every iteration, and is hoping to launch into market soon. Honestly, very impressive project for a high school level, and actually for any level. I'm sorry I said that. I would say just very, very impressive project, and made even more impressive considering that Sana is in high school and has other demands on her time. So we've decided to award this project 700 USD. All right. Next up, Sandeep, who's also here with us, who presented first in today's program. Remember, Sandeep runs the Chess Effect to help raise the awareness as well as chess expertise level in Arizona. So he's already talked to us about his project. I think the main reason why he was asking for funds is because he wants to organize a official FIDE rated over the board tournament in Arizona this year. And so obviously you need venue rentals, you need a little bit of funds for logistics for welcoming people to an in-person event. So we really want to support this. I personally think that the Chess Effect is a wonderful project, and well done to you, Sandeep, for having done this. And I want to help. So we're awarding your project 400 USD in funding. Next up, we have joint project STEM to Flower by Sanuki and Lindsay. I believe Sanuki is here on this call today. Hello. It's a certified youth-led nonprofit that aims to combat gender inequality in STEM fields. It's really interesting. They produce kits. So each student that they work with gets this STEM kit, and it's like a little box that has all kinds of fun and engaging STEM related activities inside. So they meet with these 3rd to 6th grade girls in public libraries on Long Island in New York, and they provide them with these kits, explain to them the kids, work with them through it, and then talk about STEM empowerment, interest and career exploration. I was really fascinated by their funding application because they showed me photographs of the kit, what it looks like, what goes into manufacturing the kit, I guess the whole plan for what kinds of funds that they need for their project. And I'm aware, Sanuki and Lindsay, that you needed a lot more, and I wanted to give you more, but this is the amount that I'm able to help with. So we're awarding you 500 USD. I do note that I think you gave me a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year plan for your project. So that covers 6 funding cycles. So please come back so that we can help you again. All right. Hope Humanities. This is the last one by Yuanling Zhang. So Hope Humanities has dedicated its efforts for the past year to public awareness about the Ukraine war, fostering awareness for peace. So they've launched the Ukraine Initiative at Tabor, which is their school, in collaboration with 2 students from Ukraine, various fundraising initiatives, showing of a movie, 39 steps, student-led bake sales, etc. They also hold monthly gatherings with an average of 50 participants each month, organizing school lecture series, starting with Nika and Katya, so the Ukrainian students' experience growing up in Ukraine, as well as a series of seminars. They also found an alumni of their school of Tabor, who is an author currently living in Ukraine, and they invited him to share about his writing career with the rest of their fellow students at Tabor. So very solid student project. We're awarding 100 USD to this project. And I believe that brings us to the end of our award ceremony. We have awarded a total of 5K to 14 projects here. Truly wonderful student organizations and projects. And to everyone else here, as a demonstration of the kinds of projects and organizations that we work with in our Leadership and Innovation Lab, be it to help create it, help expand it, help grow it, as well as to directly give it money to flourish. Okay, congratulations to all of our awardees. You will get information on funds disbursement and monitoring procedures very shortly, probably by mid this coming week from me. So do stay tuned. And wonderful projects, really proud of all of you. Special thanks to LBS's limited partners, people who helped me in the evaluation and management of the fund and will be helping me in the ongoing monitoring of all of these projects. So without these very dear to heart folks, none of this would have been possible. So thank you, all of you. And with that, I think that we are at the end of our presentation, as well as at the end of our Student Research and Innovation Showcase. I want to thank each of you for being here with us. Truly appreciate you being so supportive of our student research and student innovation ventures. If you want to reach me directly, my email is maya@leadershipinnovationlab.org. Or it's probably very easy to reach me. You can find my contact almost anywhere. As long as you just Google Leadership and Innovation Lab, you'll find me. Yeah, thank you very much. Get in touch if you want me to help with your project, if you want to join the lab, etc., or if you're interested in any of the papers and projects that we featured here today and yesterday. let me know as well. I can put you in touch. Thank you guys for taking time out of your weekend to be here. Very appreciate it. Have a lovely week ahead. Goodbye.